Hi everyone, welcome to Vintage Watch Club. Today a great honor to be at Antiquorum in Geneva with Julien Schaerer. So Antiquorum is a big auction house and big with long tradition. Can you tell us a bit about Antiquorum and about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. So Antiquorum was founded in 1974 here in Geneva, and with a concept of only selling watches. So we have no other departments. We specialize in vintage, but also we do some second hands as well.
Yeah.
And we've also done some thematic sales throughout the years, specialized on something. And myself, I'm the managing director here at Antiquorum Geneva, and I've been with the company for 17 years.
Yeah.
And really, I'm lucky to say that I have an amazing job really doing what I love, which, you know, not everybody has that luck, but I do.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and I said it's so nice to be in a vintage environment. I've been to the fair, Watches and Wonders. We're surrounded by brand new watches for 3 days, and then it's like, wow.
Exactly. And now we get to go to the vintage, or very often what inspired what we can see today, obviously in the new brands.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of them use their history, of course, and try to revive some of the models. Yeah, that's what inspired a lot of the new watches. And I got to walk around and pick some watches, and I saw 3 watches that I just, whoa, I have to have these. So we choose a nice trio. You
got blown away by what you see, and obviously your interest is dive watches. So we have a few that we can show your followers.
Yeah. Really nice. We start with the one closest to me, and that one is a Rolex Milgauss. And what's the reference number?
It's 6541.
Yeah.
So it's the classic reference for the Milgauss, which actually they discontinued this year at the show. This is one that was made for the US market, and actually they say US market, but I found actually quite a few in Mexico. Right. Mexico was a very strong market for Milgauss, it seems, at the time. A not so popular model when it came out, a little bit big, you know, designed for scientific use, obviously, with the protection cage inside the case back to protect the movement from any interference. And this one is with a smooth bezel. And actually the client, when he actually bought the smooth bezel, he actually bought a second bezel, so he could actually swap it out. Right. He could have the choice of either having the smooth or the rotating bezel.
That's really nice how they did it back then. You can choose which bracelet, you can choose the dial, and you can change it whatever you like that Rolex are. And I mean, the design is so contemporary. It's a bit thicker with also with the smooth and quite wide bezel. It feels so. I mean, it feels really, really nice.
It feels really modern. Absolutely, please do. And what's really nice about this one is that it has this really beautiful, dark, kind of tropical dial on it. There's actually 2 dial versions. There's this one. There's the luminous version, and then there's also a version where you have the Milgauss that's written on the dial, either in red or in pink. And this is the one that doesn't have the word Milgauss on the dial. But overall, a tremendous watch to wear even on an everyday basis, and in the end quite discreet, because it doesn't really look like anything out there.
No, and it's also, I mean, I like the Rolex models that have a bit of their own design identity, like the Explorer 2 and this one, that are a bit odd birds in the Rolex community, and I think this one is so nice with the brownish dial
and as you said, it's interesting that you say odd birds, because it's really a model that Rolex launched and at the time just wasn't successful. Like even this one or the following model, the 1019 Milgauss, was a watch that just wasn't selling. It just wasn't appealing to the clients at the time. And it's nice to see that with time, things change.
Yeah, definitely. Really, really nice watch. And this one is from the auction that comes up 15th of May.
14th and 15th of May. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I will put up a link down below, and you can watch the whole auction online. That's a great watch. The first one we picked out, you said that you will probably pick this one out, and you're so right. It's Jaeger Le Coultre. Can you tell us a bit more about this one?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the famous MEMOVOX diving watch under reference E859. It was, funnily enough, one of these Jaeger Le Coultre that was actually not found in the catalogs. For some reason, they didn't advertise it that much. It's beautiful configuration, once again, with a dial, a sub-dial that's turned on the outer track in a beautiful tropical color. It's in really as-found condition, and the watch actually comes with a very interesting story. It was a few years ago in France, a convenience store, an old convenience store that was selling all kinds of stuff, went bankrupt, and they called an antiques dealer to come and empty everything that was in there. And among the whole mess of things, there was a little box in which it was 5 watches, 4 pocket watches, and this one that had been lying there for I don't know how long. And he picked it up really for virtually nothing, because they had no idea, of course, of what it was. And what's even rare about it is it's not the US version. The US version is only signed LECOULTRE on the dial and has a different dial configuration. And this is the European version that has these interesting indexes on it. And all in all, it's just a really nice, untouched, all original watch. The luminous had fallen out in the hands. That was redone at some point. But I think in the end, you almost never see them at all.
No, it's great. I mean, and it's right up my alley. I told you, with a bit banged up, and what that tells me, it's quite an honest watch. And I also like the history, the feeling that someone has worn this, and they have worn it probably every day for whatever they would do. It's a great watch, and as you say, these are quite rare. You can see other super compressor cases, but these ones, they are super rare.
I mean the numbers, the scholars talk about probably somewhere in the range of, they made 200 to 250 pieces in total, and it was only made for about 3-4 years. So it really shows how little really they made, and that's why you don't see them.
No, and for 200 watches to survive from that those years, and these were tool watches, in some way a miracle.
Exactly. And the estimate, this one is 20 to 30,000. Comes with the extract from Jaeger Le Coultre as well, confirming all the information.
That's really nice. All these 3 are watches that I would gladly have in my collection.
All you need to do is bid, and then they can be yours.
Probably. And then I will air this after the auction. So
exactly.
Oh, this one is so nice. This is the Breitling SUPEROCEAN. From what year is this?
I believe it's 60s. I can double check, but it's somewhere in the 60s.
And the case is so cool. The shape of the case, the shape of the bezel, it goes 2 ways. I mean, this is really a nice watch. And these are also quite rare, aren't they?
They're very rare. I mean, usually, they did the SUPEROCEAN, the diving version, which is this one, and then there's also the chronograph version, which is also very rare in the SUPEROCEAN. They're often found in actually very poor condition. The bezel is impossible to find once that's lost, and even the dials didn't age that well from that series. So a lot are reprinted or reloomed or etc. And this one is just one that's survived across the time, and it's just overall it's just a gorgeous watch. And as you said, it's really nice to have that inclining slope on the bezel, contrasting with the loop on the watch, basically the crystal that gives this, as you said, this double dip. And it's for a small watch, in the end the diameter is quite small. Because of the bezel, it gives it a real presence on the wrists.
Definitely, and also a very nice fit. And I mean, I usually nag about this, that the feeling when you handle these kind of watches they're so light. So compared to new watches, it feels like it's light and fragile, but it also makes them very nice to wear on the wrist. and comfortable, and that's
very comfortable.
It's hard to find that in the new watches, especially the iris watches, because they're too chunky, too heavy, too big, and you get scratched on the wrist, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this one was beautiful. And this is also 14th and
14th and 15th as well. An estimate on that is 10 to 15,000 Swiss francs.
And for foreign bidders, if someone in Sweden wants to bid, you have an online? Or
we do. For that is absolutely no problem. The whole world bids and buys at our auctions, so wherever you are, Sweden included, it's absolutely no problem.
Yeah. And if they want to consign watches, they have to. You have offices around the world as well?
We do. Not in Sweden, unfortunately, not yet.
Yeah.
Exactly, but otherwise, yes, in Europe and in Asia, and offices are there.
Yeah. So if someone back in Sweden have a watch, I want to consign it. How do they go about it?
They just simply go through our website and then send us an email, and we usually get a response within 24 hours on an estimate, and then we go from there.
Yeah, that's really nice. Oh, so beautiful watches, and if I had, it's almost impossible to pick one of these. But I think I have to go with the Jaeger Le Coultre.
I think it's a good choice.
Yeah, it's so, and also I love that it's a bit banged up on the bezel, and that would also make me comfortable wearing it. If I would add another scratch, that wouldn't ruin my life.
I always say, watches are just meant to be worn, right? And even if they're vintage, if you're a little bit careful, there's no reason why you can't wear it on an everyday basis.
No, of course you have to be careful because it's expensive and it's hard to find parts and everything, and use it with respect, but still it's nice to buy watches that you can wear. New old stock are nice to look at, nice to have, and some people, they like to put it in the safe and bring them out on Sunday evening with the gloves on. I fully understand that, but that's not the way I would go about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as you said, it's one of those things, it's, if you ever happen to lose a bezel like that, it's virtually impossible to re-find one. So, as you said, wear carefully with respect, and then the rest is fine.
Yeah. Really nice. Oh, so nice of you, Julien, to have me.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure.
Let me go bananas in your safe. Thank you again for having me.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Look out for the auction, 14th and 15th of May, and if you're ever in Geneva, push on the doorbell, say hello to Julien, and come in and have a look at what they are having right now.
With pleasure. We always have something interesting for you, so really don't hesitate. And before everything, we're really watch lovers. So, even if it's just to talk about watches for a few hours, we're happy to do it.
Yeah, really nice meeting you.
You too.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe on the channel, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.